Let's do it. Hey, we are live, doing our live podcast. And this week we're getting straight into it. So, the live Salon Jedi podcast. And this season we are doing interviews with real salon owners, real results. And this week we are speaking with Annie Franklin from Prestige Hair in Manchester. Well, just outside Stockport, isn't it, Annie? Outside, or just outside Stockport, actually. So we're going to be chatting with Annie. We are going to be talking about Annie's story to inspire you. We're talking about from homeless to super salon success and session success. So welcome to the podcast, Annie. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming. Your story always inspires me. I just absolutely love hearing all your wins, but I know that it's not always been the way it is now. So what I want to do is I just want to take you back to, I know that there's a period of time in your life before you had the salon that you were homeless. And I know that you were living in a homeless shelter, etc. So can we go back to there? Because I just want people to understand that we're going to talk about, how you've built your business and your reputation and so on to where you are now and what's going on in your life at the moment, in your career and so on. But I think it's important to bring people back to a point in time where, and I think this is a perfect point in time where you were at a moment in your life where you didn't know which way to turn next. So bring us back to that time where you're homeless, you were living in a homeless shelter. How did it come about that you then ended up opening a salon? Do you mind sharing a bit about that?
Yeah, so that went on for a fair bit of time of being in and out of homeless shelters, staying on people's sofas. And it was more down to mindset that changed it. Someone had given me the book, The Secret, and I had a very negative mindset on the whole world around me. Everything was happening to me rather than for me. So I was in quite a dark place and there was only two options really. I either made a go of it or gave up. So I decided to start doing mobile because I was hairdressing before that anyway. Quite laughable now because I actually was just wheeling this suitcase that had lost a wheel. So it only had one wheel, just this wobbly suitcase. And even in the snow, I got frostbite on my toes and I was just wheeling this suitcase. But I built up a lot of mobile clientele and then started working on just being more positive and thinking, well, if other people can do it, why can't I?
Exactly. And then tell us about, so you're there, you're wheeling your wobbly suitcase through the snow, house to house, but you obviously have talent, so you're starting to build your clientele and so on. What made the decision of opening a salon then? Tell us about that. So you decided to open a salon. How did that come about?
Yeah, it was a lady who had a beauty salon and was doing her hair. And so that kind of all felt just, if anything, it kind of slotted into place. So we shared the building. So I have half of it for the hair salon. She has half of the beauty. I wouldn't say it was easy to begin with, opening the salon, because I still was in a bit of a negative mindset, but kind of partly positive. So we faced a lot of struggles at the beginning. Probably not as bad as wheeling a suitcase in the snow, but there were still struggles at the beginning and we weren't making many profits. I was working a lot of hours on the tools. I can't even imagine how many, to be honest, probably 70 a week, I reckon, because I thought you had to work hard. And that was the only noble thing to do, was just to work as hard as I could.
Yeah. And then it's common. It's so common in the sense of, and if the profits aren't coming in, and you don't really understand why they're not coming in, you don't understand the numbers and so on. The logical thing that we think in our mind is just work harder. I just have to do more clients, let's just work harder. And then obviously the more you're doing that, you don't even have time to step back and look at, well, how do I make profits in the salon business? What is going wrong that I'm working already 40, 50 hours but not making profits, and jumping on that only solution of, well, let's do 70 hours instead and burn ourselves out completely just to make a living. It's so common. So you find yourself in this place, and then I know that shortly after that we met. Tell us about how, so I know that you're a part of Salon Jedi now, the Salon Jedi Academy that we have, the training academy. Tell us about how you came across that. How did we meet?
You popped up on Facebook. It was the Bounce Back Challenge, which, if I remember rightly, was COVID times, maybe lockdown times, I think.
Yeah.
I went on that. I mean, as well as the salon thing, we had a lot of other things going on, and we'd been trying for a baby for quite a long time. Not me and the lady that owned the salon, me and my partner. But we'd been trying for a baby. I'd done rounds of IVF that didn't work, which probably didn't help my mindset. And then the salon locked down and staff members left. So I was basically at that point in my head that I was years before, where I just thought, this is it, can't do this. And then you popped up, so I thought, why not? We did the Bounce Back Challenge, and I literally just thought, why not me? Sod it. So that was, I think it was within a month, I went from that and never having a mentor to investing. I think at the time was your highest level.
Yeah, you did. You did do that. And so, yeah, you came into the Bounce Back Challenge, which I think it was £5 or something, if I remember. It was such a day. It was £1 a day. That's right. It was, an hour a day of training during the lockdown, and it was £1 a day. And it was a brilliant challenge. Like, there was a lot of information in there. I remember I would laugh and go, did I get my, did you get your pounds worth today? But after that, you did then invest in us. And like you say, you came straight in at the highest level. It was a mastermind that I was running. We worked together for a year. We've worked more than that now, but that first year. Here's something that I'd like to ask you, because I know that you've mentioned a bit about the law of attraction, the secret, and ups and downs and so on. You would quite rightly have been in the mindset, if you were in the mindset at that time, like you say, you were, back in that place where you were struggling again. You could quite easily be in that mindset of lack and scarcity, and I can't, afford to invest. I can't do this. Why were you driven to do it? Like, what made your mindset think, yep, I'm going to do that. I'm going in at that highest level, when so many others would be, I'm struggling, I can't afford it, I can't do it right now, or I'm not in the headspace, or whatever it is. I'm just curious, what is the difference that made you go, I'm doing this?
Probably a few things, but I'd done 8 years not just doing the same thing, and it got me to, again, breaking point. So the other option was, why not? If I'm gonna close or end up with a heart attack with stress, then why not at least just put me all into it? And that was the one thing that I said to myself, is if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it properly. And I'm gonna literally say to you, if you need to tell me what I'm not doing right, just tell me. I'm not gonna take anything kind of to heart anymore, because I just really believe anyone can do it if you just put your all into it. Not saying it's easy, but you can.
Yeah, and I think that helps as well. Here's the thing. It's like, when you're investing at that highest level as well, you're going to do the work. You're invested, right? Not just invested with your energy, but putting that financial commitment into it as well. You're going to do the work. You're invested. You're going to be showing up for every training that you possibly can, and so on. And yes, when you're working with me at that higher level and we're more involved, which we were, like in the mastermind, we're meeting every 2 weeks, in the WhatsApp group constantly and stuff like that. Oh, I'll kick ass if I need to, if people are not doing the work and that kind of stuff. But it's for your benefit, right? It's for your benefit, because I know what it's like when we get into that kind of, we need accountability sometimes, and some people need it more than others. And it's just that reminder and that accountability that we have to do the work. But the great thing about taking action and doing the work is, though, you start to get results. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to kind of give a bit of inspiration to people that when you do get your mindset in check, and when you do get that commitment of, I'm all in, I want to see what I'm capable of. As you said, it was almost like nothing to lose now. That, what more can I lose, really, apart from some financial, like an financial investment, but I'm losing out so much anyway. That's going to be gone in no time anyway. When you get to that stage and you're all in to see what you're truly capable of, tell us about some of the results. I'm going to just quickly, actually, as you're telling us about some of the results, what happened next, I'm going to actually add a couple of slides in here as well, just a couple of little ones for those who are watching this on the visual. Tell us about some of the results. This is you here back in one of the homeless shelters.
Yeah, really bad picture of me in a homeless shelter, angry at the world and anything going on around me.
And then here's just talk us through a couple of these pictures. So I've got a medley of pictures here of you in action, doing hair. Like, give us an example of some of these pictures, the kind of life that you've started to create now within your career.
A couple of those pictures are when I joined the Dyson Roadshow, which was traveling around the country. I dug down as well, doing the mindset. I dug down into what I love, and I love travel. And I thought, well, what better than to get paid to travel, doing something I love. So that was the Dyson one. There's a couple there. I've done Paris. I think that was Paris. Yeah, Paris Fashion Week, London Fashion Week. And then we've got some other pictures there, which is awards. And the most recent one is the fellowship, hairdressing fellowship, where I got accepted onto Project X. So amazing. I just went for opportunities, and that was one of the things I said to you at the beginning, that I'm just going to apply for things, and if I don't get them, I don't. Luckily for me, I ended up getting all the opportunities I'd applied for, and some then just coming to me rather than me even having to go to them now, which is nice.
Perfect.
Big change.
Yeah, and I mean, and session style is a big thing that you're into. I know that you're just about to go to New York. Is that right?
Yeah, I lost my passion for hair running the salon because of the stresses that got in the way. So when I took a step back and I came off the tools to have more freedom, I then ended up thinking, actually, I do like hairdressing. That was why I got into it. I just happened to think opening a salon was the next step. So I then went into session styling, which I absolutely love. Can't get enough of it. And yeah, fly out to New York in a couple of days, actually. And then the minute I land, we're doing London. So it's
amazing. Right. Okay. Share a little tip then, because people who want to get into, I'm not talking about, how'd you get into session styling? What I want you to share is share the tool that you use, that I share with my Jedis, that I use as well. Right? You know what it is. Share the tool that you use for manifesting that has helped you achieve all of these opportunities. Because this started somewhere else, like it started in your head, but then where does it go after your head before it becomes a reality?
Dream book is key. So anything that I think of, I put it in the dream book, print out pictures, random pictures, like the logo, I think it was, for Paris Fashion Week. And then I like looking back through it now and thinking, done that. To be fair, when most of them went in, they seemed quite like unachievable. They were that far away from me. But once I put it in there, they suddenly seemed more achievable, and then happened.
So tell us, so just to recap, if someone's like, what are you talking about, a dream book? Just give a little bit more detail. So it's just any book, and then you're putting in visions and pictures and words of what you want to achieve. Is that right? To help manifest it?
Yeah. So any book, although I did go to W.H. Smith at one point and looked through them all and saw what I was drawn to, and I loved my dream book. And then anything that comes into your mind, if you're just really daydreaming of what you would love in your life, either print a picture out of it or cut a picture out, or even just writing. I mean, I've wrote figures is a big thing for me. So I write numbers. So I did it with my car. I wanted this new car. I wanted it at half the price. So I wrote the figure I wanted it for. Didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen. And then randomly, my boyfriend got a job working for an auction, which is where they bought like crash cars. That one came up. We fixed it. I've got it for half the market value.
Amazing. And do you know what? It's funny because people think, you know, we train at Salon Jedi Academy and we train at the highest level, as in, you know, marketing and systems and operations manuals and all of that kind of stuff. But a huge part of what we do is actually helping people retrain their brain and how to use dream books and how to manifest and so on. And you are a prime example of what can be achieved when you use that dream book. So even for all of our listeners or anyone watching this who is a Jedi and are in the academy, never forget the power, because some people come in and they use the dream book for a while and it works. It's like great. And then things start to show up, which are great in their lives for a while. And then, of course, when things show up and they're great for a while, we can easily forget what got us there. So we forget to use the dream book. Have you ever had that? So then you forget to use the tools in the dream book. And then all of a sudden, you know, time passes and you're like, oh, I'm not getting the results. And we maybe hit a few challenges, whatever it is. And then you're like, I haven't been using the tools. I haven't been using the dream book for a while. Have you experienced that before?
It actually happened this month. Well, last month. I think I was just achieving so much that I then forgot to do all the tools that I'd learned, like meditation. That was a hard one for me because naturally I have shiny object syndrome. I'm here, there, everywhere. So, but I really worked on that. And then the dream book I find is fun. And that's what I need, to just have the fun time of creating rather than thinking of your worries. So I fell off track over Christmas, after Christmas, back into just drinking and not doing the magic tools, basically, and noticed it around me. All these things were happening, which I then was thinking, oh God, why is this happening? And then I realized and thought, I know why it's happening. And I also know I can bring it back.
That's the great thing. Once you start to realize that you are the creator and you're starting to carve this out from your own energy and your own mindset and so on, you remember, oh yeah, I can do this again. So you kind of fall back into your natural state of being the creator, as opposed to it used to be, you know, the natural state of you kept going back into your negative mindset. Whereas now, when you go into the negative mindset, your natural state is, oh, wait a minute, I don't belong here anymore. I'm going to go back to being the creator, which is brilliant. You use that tools so brilliantly. And of course, you joined us in the Maldives, another tick list of the dream book. You joined us in the Maldives. We ran a retreat for salon owners in the Maldives last year. And of course, because you were in at our top level as well, you came along to the Maldives, which was amazing. You ticked off, there were some things that you ticked off specifically from your dream book in that as well, wasn't there?
Sharks. Yeah, I always wanted to swim with sharks. There was a bit of a story behind that. They actually stopped the shark feeding, didn't they, while they were there? And I was like, what? That's in my dream book. That can't happen. And the couple were getting married, and we ended up doing the hair and the makeup and the DJing. Crazy, and they had such a good night, the staff, that they said, you know what, we're going to do the shark feeding. And then we did. And then the following day, we'd actually done yoga on the beach. I mean, I was probably still drunk from the night before or hungover, but I still did it. I said I was going to commit. And we got in the water, and all of a sudden this shark comes swimming with us. So it actually swam with me for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Another one ticked off the dream book. And then, of course, let's talk about BHA. So again, the creative side. So you love the session side and so on, but you shot with us last year. You joined our Salon Jedi Academy art team, and you shot your own first image as well, which you entered into. Well, at the time, I'm sure you've entered it into more now, but last year entered it into trend image at the British Hairdressing Awards. The first time that you have ever shot and had your first image, and tell us how that went.
Yeah, so got through to the final. So the BHAs, for anyone who doesn't know, is like kind of top level hairdressing. I'd call it the Oscars. And I went with yourself, Caroline, the first year. Never been to any award ceremonies. Awards were way out of my kind of headspace at the time when I joined. Now we're multi-award winning. But I joined you and you'd won, was it 3, 4?
On that night you were there, there was 3. Yeah.
It was 3. So I remember seeing you come out from backstage, and that was the thing that I'd kind of zoned in on, and I thought, I want to walk out from backstage. So we entered the image. I got through to the finals, got my name up there in lights, and got to walk from backstage.
Yep, your first year. So you came the first year, you watched, and you were like, I'm going to be walking out on that stage next year. I'm going to see my name up on those lights and so on. And although, we didn't win that year, but do you know what? It's, it like is one of the hardest things to get a British Hairdressing Award. I know that I won in my first year that I was there, and then didn't win for many years. I was a finalist, sometimes up for 2 awards, and I had a big dry spell of not winning at all until kind of started winning again. So, and it just makes you hungrier. It realize that, it makes you go back, it's almost like you now go, when it happens, like you go and you don't win, it's that question of, am I committed to doing this again? And knowing that feeling of the disappointment if you don't win and so on, am I committed enough to do this again? It either makes you hungrier, or some people go, maybe this isn't for me, whatever. I'm guessing it's probably made you hungrier. I don't know.
Yeah, it was quite a good point for me, because I think I used to not enter things, or not even enter, just not do things in general because of the fear of failing. Whereas I never saw it then as a fail, because I kind of focused on the walking backstage. Next time I'm going to focus on actually holding the silver lady and walking home with it.
Yep, packing it in the suitcase, putting it on your shelf when you get home, all of those things. It's like the more crystal clear you are with all that side of stuff is, it's focusing on the win, like you say, as opposed to the experience of even just being there and being a part of it. And then, of course, let's look at, just for those of you who can see this visually, I'm putting up just a few results from the salon of Annie that we'll talk about, a couple of them before we kind of tie up. Let me just ask you about, so it says here, it's such a specific figure, £240,240. Let me repeat that again, £240,240 in new client value in less than 3 months when we started to work together within the mastermind. Now, again, was that figure in your dream book or something close to that? Tell us about that figure.
Yeah, that figure was the figure that I wrote in my dream book of what I was going to kind of take in, what I was building the salon to. And then we dug into like the new clients. I joined the mastermind and we were doing Facebook marketing. But alongside that, I was working a lot on client journey and how the whole process went of greeting people on the way in to how they left. So we were focusing on getting 100% conversion rate of people who came in for consultations, thinking even if we got an 80%, that would be good. But we actually got 100%. Everyone that came in for a consultation booked in. So that was then the figure for the 3 months of new client value. Obviously, we're going to work on keeping those clients returning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is phenomenal, because here's the thing about new clients. It's not about what they come and spend at that first visit. They have a lifetime value. So for every new client that comes in the door, you're not going after that new clients thinking, oh, great, I got £50 of them at their first visit, whatever that may be. This is a big mistake that a lot of people make if they're running adverts or Facebook adverts, for example. They're running adverts and they're expecting to get loads on the front end, we call it, as in at their first visit. And we're actually really, really lucky as an industry because there's so few people that run Facebook advertising that actually we do tend to make a decent amount on the front end. So it might cost us, for example, I've worked with people before and it's like, it's cost them, they ran a £20 advert and they didn't think it worked. And I'm like, well, tell me about the results. Well, we only got 2 people in for balayage on the back of that. All right. And it was like an offer that we did to get them in. Okay. So how much did you take in? Well, we reduced it. So we got like £80, right? All right. So you got £160 in. They were both new clients. And you spent £20 and you're telling me that didn't work, right? I don't know what people are expecting in their mind, like from, but it's up to us to convert them and also to keep them, as you say. But if we're making a profit on the front end, even just making something, because in a lot of businesses, they will run Facebook adverts and they'll just break even. They'll make nothing. So it'll cost them £100 to get a client that comes in and spends £100 and they break even on that first sale. And they're delighted because they're doing it because they're buying a new client and it's about what that client goes on to spend. So just a little point, I just wanted to a little tip that I wanted to throw in there for people listening to this is, there's a lot to Facebook marketing. And like you say, when you're getting that, if you're doing it to get leads and get consultations in that door and you're converting at 100%, that is absolutely phenomenal. Like there are many other industries and, that run Facebook ads that would look at that and go, get me into the salon industry, right? Because it works. The conversions that we get through Facebook ads for salons is just unbelievable compared to, because I know doing it in internet marketing within the coaching industry, for example, how highly that competitive that is. That's a completely different story. So anyway, just throwing that in there. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is this one here, where it says worked 70% less on the tools, right? This is a huge thing. For me, this is a lot of what we teach at Salon Jedi. That's my, I no longer work on the tools that much. Well, hardly ever work on the tools anymore. I can pick and choose if I ever do or don't. It's a huge thing of what we teach at Salon Jedi. Now, for you to be 70% off the tools, I'm taking it that so you can be away doing your session styling and all that. Yet, what happens with the salon when you're away?
So that is definitely that's the biggest thing that has helped me. I don't know how I actually can't comprehend in my head how I used to work there full time and build it up. The biggest change being that if I worked full time on the tools doing the clients, how could I then manage my staff and push them to go further? So I took a step back, which was really scary, but really worked. So the girls now, there's more places for them to go. There's more money for them to earn commission wise, because I'm not grabbing it all myself. And it's allowed me to have time off. So whether that's session styling or originally it was time off the tools to actually look at the business. I remember the first time I was doing KPIs and I Googled it. I couldn't work it out. And I actually voice noted my friend and said, what's KPIs? I need to know my KPIs for starting. Had no clue. Now I get it. And I see why you have these key performance indicators now. Yeah. Now I know what it's called. And I track them and the girls track them. So they're kind of, in effect, running their own little businesses from the salon, which Absolutely. Means the staff are more likely to stay rather than think, why am I working like this?
And I remember in the Maldives, so we were in the Maldives together, and I remember you getting a text. I remember we were walking over to the meal, in the sort of grand finale meal, and I remember you saying that you'd got, you were getting updates from the salon, you got a text. I mean, they were knocking it out of the park when you weren't there, but they were delighted, and they're texting you, telling you about it. And this is what you call building a high performance team, as opposed to you're going away when you're looking at your phone thinking, oh my God, am I going to get that dreaded phone call? You're looking at your phone thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. Look at the updates I'm getting. Share us a little bit of that before we tie off. What did that feel like?
I built this thing in my head that I couldn't leave the salon or go on holiday, and obviously spent a lot of time reframing it, building the salon so it could run without me. And then for instance, the Maldives, went there. 2 of our team went to London to go up for awards. They won it. Customer service journey, we won while I was away. They then not told me because they wanted to surprise me the next day on FaceTime that I'd won an image award for the image we spoke about before. And then the next day I get a text saying they basically sold out of retail. So we had nothing on the shelves. Their aim was to clear the shelves. So yeah, there was that.
Yeah.
Really good text. And they were proud. They were proud that they'd done it without me there.
Yeah. And this is the difference. This is a huge difference when you have that intention. It's about building a high performance team that they're excited about what they're doing. They don't need micromanaged all the time. That, it enables salon owners to step away without that fear of, getting the dreaded phone call. It's, it's having that confidence and certainty that when you step away, that the place is running systems and you've got a great culture in place. But, it takes work. You were with us first of all, for a year, to start with. I think you've been there longer now, but it takes time and you have to take action. If I give you, we're going to sort of tie off now, and I want to thank you so, so much for sharing your inspiration. I'm sure that this is going to inspire many, many, many people. Your story is just phenomenal. How you use the dream book, how you take action, like how committed you are, that every opportunity you get, you just go for it. You just made it in your head. When I get an opportunity, I'm saying yes, right? You've done it. You've stuck to your guns with that. It doesn't mean that you never experience fear, but you overcome it. You get through it. You're ticking off your dream book like nobody's business. You're winning awards. Like, you're really building a name for yourself in the industry. And I have to take my hat off to you. I am only a guide. I am just the guide. I help people. I give you tools. But what I like to think that I help you do is to tap into your own personal power and genius that is always there in people. Is always there in people, no matter how dormant it may lie for a while. And I just help people tap into that. And it's really you that does the work. It's you that then takes that over and goes out there and does it. So I have to say a massive, massive congratulations to you. It's you that's done this, So I'm going to leave you with the last word. For anyone listening or watching this today, what would be your kind of final thought if they're in a place that maybe they're a bit stuck, if they're in that place that you've been before, they're a bit stuck in their mindset or stuck in their salon business and so on? What's the last thing that last little message or tip that you would like to leave them with?
Well, if I can do it from homeless, from a crappy estate in Manchester, then anyone can. I really truly believe anyone can do it. It's just a case of working on it and understanding, having the tools of mindset, changing your mindset around.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Annie, and well done for investing in yourself, investing in your team. It's been a pleasure working with you, and may it continue. And I can't wait to keep watching you grow. And take care, everybody. Thanks.